Hi guys. Today I actually wanted to talk to you about a pitch deck, the importance of a pitch deck for any startup or a business that is looking to raise capital. Now, a lot of founders do underestimate or perhaps don't even understand how important this pitch deck is for a business. And really, you're not getting a whole lot of chances here with your investors. So, what is that pitch deck that we often hear about in our startup world? So, a pitch deck is, in my opinion, the most important tool that is available to any founder, any startup that can help them derive or kind of talk about their vision, their goal, and it helps the investor see that vision as well. So, a pitch deck, a good pitch deck, a well drafted pitch deck can do that for you. So it's not supposed to be just another presentation deck that you are kind of making use of, but it's really supposed to be able to help you enable an investor understand the company's vision, the company's goals, or what inspired you to do this and how this can be successful. So if your pitch deck is able to do that, and if it's able to connect your investors to your startup's goal, then you have, pretty much won that battle. So what does that winning deck really look like? And this is one question I think all founders need to understand. So, a lot of people have very sort of like they're kind of new. A lot of founders are pretty new to entrepreneurship, to the investment and funding game. It's pretty new to many of them, and they haven't really done these kind of things or activities in the past. So a lot of them are actually trying this for the first time in their life, and people just don't think about what really goes into doing one of these pitch decks, or how meaningful or how important it can be for a founder. So pitch decks are really, really important, and entrepreneurs need to think about this. They have to ask this question: what does that winning deck look like for my company, right? So just to give you a couple ideas and examples here, just to help you understand the importance of this pitch deck. All right, Uber is one of those very well-known companies now. It's a cab service. They're trying to branch out into other businesses as well. Now Uber, when it was initially raising funds at the very at the seed level, they were actually able to raise about $1.57 million at a valuation of 3.86 million. That is at the seed level. Airbnb, so that's another very big company, a multi-billion-dollar company now. These guys got like about $7.2 million in funding for a valuation of about 70 million. And Facebook, when it originally started and it was trying to secure seed funding, so we all know about Peter Thiel. He's one of those first investors in Facebook. So Facebook got like about $500,000 from this venture capitalist at a valuation of $4.9 million. So these are seed investments that some of these companies have been able to raise this kind of money at such an early stage in the company's life, when it was just an idea that they were really talking to an investor about. So you see that it is always a good idea to have a prototype at least, or to have something to show for ready at this stage. But even with just an idea, there you can still accomplish this goal of getting that good solid funding. So that's totally possible. Now take this as an example. Say you are spending like about $20,000 on creating a successful pitch deck, all right, for your company. Now this deck, all right, helps you raise like $2 million perhaps, right? So how much of a return on investment would that be? That's 100 times return on that investment of $20,000 that you put into creating that pitch deck. So wouldn't that be a successful investment if you knew that you could get $2 million from this pitching session, from this presentation with the deck you have? Wouldn't you spend that? You would, if you knew that it could get you such funding. Now pitch decks, how much does it cost? It doesn't really have to cost you $20,000. But how much does it cost? So pitch decks can cost anywhere from $0 all the way up to 5,000 and beyond. Okay, that's a big range we're working with. But understand that you could open up the PowerPoint and create one deck for yourself, for the company, for free. You can buy decks for your company from so many online sources, and where you can customize it and create it for the needs of your business. But do you know if it is the right deck? How do you figure out if it is the deck that will help you win that funding round, raise that capital? Now understand that investors, when they are looking at decks, they ideally spend like about 2.5 minutes or so per deck. Okay, so it's just within those 2.5 minutes, your deck has to derive that information and show them the value in this company. So just in 2.5 minutes, that's very short time if you think about it, right? How do you create this deck that is going to catch the attention of the investor and help your company get that funding? Because understand, if within those 2.5 minutes, if your deck doesn't catch the investor's attention and they're not ready to go further or investigate or learn more about this company, then your chance with that investor is pretty much gone. Rarely will you ever get a second chance again. So it is only a one-time thing, one chance, and you need to derive your information, your communication in the right way for that investor. Now, some people put very little information in their decks, and some people like to sort of make it a biography for that demo day. But that is the wrong way. You need to have a certain set of information in that deck that is important for an investor to understand. So your deck ideally should consist of a traction slide, a problem slide explaining the problems that you're trying to target, the problem that exists in the market, a traction slide that would actually explain what has the business done so far. Right? It doesn't have to be revenue all the time. There's so much more you can show that validates your business idea. So traction slide is important. A solution slide, right? How are you planning to address this problem you just talked about? A product introduction. This is where you introduce your product to the investors. A market slide, kind of explaining what is that market size at the moment and how it is supposed to, or how it's expected to grow in the future. A target market slide. So, within that larger market, how much percentage of the market are you targeting for? Are you hoping that you'll be able to, secure? A business model slide explaining, what type of a business model you have at the moment. And you don't have to, you don't have to worry about, say, for example, if you talk to an investor today and you are telling that, it's a B2C model, which is a business to consumer type of a model you have, but later you change things because startups do go through that. They do experiment a lot with the different business models. And you talk to another investor and you tell them that, we are trying out a B2B type of a strategy, a business to business type of a, business model strategy. That's totally fine because that's expected. But when you do talk to that other investor and tell them that there is a B2B you're trying, you should also explain that there was a B2C that you tried in the past, and for whatever reason, you decided that it's not working right for the company and you wanted to target other businesses, enterprises, things of that sort. All right. A competition slide. So who is that competition? Who are you running up against? Right? Explaining what is that product they offer, what is the market share they hold, right? And another very important slide to have in your demo day pitch deck is going to be a funds raised by competition slide. So putting in that slide is a very, very useful thing for founders to do. Now, it does take some time for, entrepreneurs to kind of do that research and create this slide. But this way you have sort of done the homework for the investor. All right. So talking about how much some of these other companies who are now kind of known in the industry, how much were they able to raise at the different stages of the startup, right? Especially at the seed level, if that's what you're targeting for, kind of helps the investor do the comparison right away, right? So this company, it grew up to such a market size. It has this product right now that is so successful and is able to capture a big market size. how much did they get as the initial funding, and how did that funding evolve over the years, and how much of a return would that have given to an investor. So they are able to do these calculations right away. So when you have that information, if you can get hold of that information and present that as part of your pitch deck, it would make a lot of impact. So I highly suggest that, as entrepreneurs, as founders of startups and businesses, small business, make sure that you have this slide in there. A team slide. So a team slide is supposed to really, not talk about the entire expanded team if you have anything like that, but it's really about, the core team, the CEO, the CTO, and, the business person, the marketing person, the sales person, things of that sort. Now, you're not trying to give a biography, sort of like a resume of these people, but it is really about showing here what it is that they have done in the past that makes them so competent to take this business forward. How do these people become the better team for this startup, right? So you're trying to show that information to the investors. So talk about their achievements, experiences, experience with other businesses they have, started. Maybe some of them are serial entrepreneurs. That's a good thing to mention in there. Some of them perhaps, might have been able to sell the company, right, in the past. So that's a very valuable information. So do that for your team. Talk about their achievements and capabilities that actually support and fit the business that you're trying to get the funding for. A funding slide, kind of talking about, just what you're looking for in terms of funding, how much of a funding you're looking for. Over here, there is another slide you want to add to your pitch deck. It's called the financial slide, but at a demo day presentation, your goal is not really to get into the nitty-gritty stuff with your revenue projections, your cost of goods, the CAC estimates, things of that sort. But it is really just to give a very, high level idea about, what are some of those financial numbers. Now, when the investor, if they're interested in your business and they want to explore it a little bit more, they are going to ask you for that financial Excel sheet or something. So be ready to present that in later meetings though. So that's one thing you want to be careful of. Don't share your financial information on a demo day presentation. And you have to be careful about, there are rules and regulations about who you can share your financial information with. So make sure that you understand those before, you start sending out these financial Excel sheets. And then finally, a contact slide. Now, as simple as it is, a lot of founders somehow just, miss on this one. So it's always a good idea to have a contact slide at the end of your deck. All right. Make it easy for your investors to reach out to you. Have that information available for them, right? So that they don't have to go through their emails. They don't have to, follow up with other people to, figure out how to contact you. So have that information in there for yourself. So that's very, very important. All right. Any social media presence you may have, put that information in there, right? Maybe you have subscribers and followers on different platforms. Those are all validations for your business that, it is a sound idea. It is an idea with a lot of possibilities. And this is a business that can actually become one of those perhaps unicorn enterprises. Now, our deck is different from all of the other ones that you'll see out there. Now, we don't sell thousands and thousands of decks like other people. We just have one demo day deck. Now, this deck is really special because not only is it, comes with all the pre-designed stuff, but it has other important things in it, such as, suggestions, tips, guidance on what content to put in on each slide, the level of information you need to share, things of that sort. So that's very important. And those are, you will find decks, but you're not going to find a whole lot of decks with this kind of information. And this is only going to be possible for you if you bring in a pitch deck coach. And these guys will cost you quite a bit of money. So this is a pitch deck that I have created after having gone through multiple presentations, many thousands of decks myself, after having, talked to a lot of founders, attended a lot of demo day presentations, based on what I observed among these decks in terms of, how they differentiated from one another, what is that information some of them have, what turns out to be useful, what's irrelevant information. And from that experience, I actually designed this pitch deck for the demo day. So this is a pitch deck designed by an investor for an entrepreneur. All right, so if you guys have found this useful, and if you think that this is a deck that will probably help you with one of your funding rounds, then take a look at it, purchase it, try it out on my school. It's available as a product. The link is down there in the description box and up on your screen as well. Hopefully this has been a useful video. Hopefully, you've learned something today about the importance of a pitch deck. Pitch decks are very valuable for a founder, and founders do need to really think about how to create the best decks for their demo days, because there are no second chances with our investors.